Macula, and really interesting talking to him about their plans. Now, back with Martin Galpin. I think he's just been passed by Amerbeg. Yes, he has. The green car, Amerbeg has got past. Number 16, finally. These two have been racing for many, many laps, if you remember. They made contact a couple of times, but Amerbeg has finally found his way past Martin Galpin. There was a bit of gesticulating going on earlier, remember, waving his arm in the air, but he's finally found his way past, and he is now in 10th position. So Martin Galpin is in 11th, and there's only one car still running behind him, and that's the red car of Anthony George. There he is. Anthony is a research and development engineer, an automobile engineer, which is what his main focus is. So you've got a couple of very bright individuals, very smart and well-educated individuals, because Martin Galpin is a computer scientist. He's a very technical guy, really, having read some of the blogs he's done. He writes also for Race Car Engineering, the magazine, and so he's a very technical guy. And right behind him is another technical engineer in the number 3 driver, that's Anthony George. So they might know all the ins and outs of the engineering side of things, but right now they're fighting a little bit to move up the order in this particular race. They're down towards the back of the field. Amerbeg just ahead of them, and you can see, by the way, that Martin is struggling for fitness. His neck again is beginning to give way. His head through the corners is beginning to lean onto the side of the cockpit, and that's because his neck muscles are just not strong enough to withstand the G-forces that these cars create. Watch his head as he comes through the corners. He leans over, you see, to the outside. His head is being thrown to the outside, and it's leaning onto the side of the cockpit, and that's because his neck muscles are worn out. They cannot support his head anymore through these fast corners, because the force, or the G-force, is throwing his head out to the side. And that's in these little fairly humble single-seaters. If you can imagine, the stress and strain in a Formula 1 car would be 10 times probably the amount that you're seeing in these cars. So that's why Formula 1 drivers often have very thick necks. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. They have very wide necks. If you look at a Formula 1 driver, quite often in profile, their head just goes straight down to their neck and straight into their shoulders, because they have a huge amount of neck muscle to be able to hold their head up in the fast corners in a Formula 1 car. Martin wasn't expecting to race this weekend. He hasn't been working on his fitness like some of the other guys here. And Jordan King, completely different. He's been testing massively over the winter. He was racing, doing some car races at the end of 2010. He was karting before that, of course. He is supremely fit. He goes to the gym 3 times a week, and this is no problem for him. This is straightforward afternoon drive. We're on lap 13 out of 15. He has been caught a little bit. The gap is down to 2.6 seconds now between himself and Honkavari, although Honkavari lapping at about the same pace. So I think Jordan King is just controlling the pace here. He's not stretching the gap anymore. He's happy.